Am I the a-hole for waiting out my prenup before divorcing my cheating wife? I was 28 when I met Sarah, just getting my feet wet in my engineering career, not exactly rolling in dough, but I was steady, reliable, and had a good head on my shoulders. She was something else entirely, beautiful, charismatic, and came from old money. Her family had stacks. Me, no, not so much. My folks were good people, worked hard, but we weren't exactly vacationing in the Hamptons every summer. I was just a regular guy, trying to make my way. When we first started dating, I thought I'd hit the damn jackpot. She was smart, funny, and seemed genuinely into me. We clicked, or so I thought. Looking back, I probably ignored a few things. Little comments she'd make, subtle digs about my job, or how I dressed. Nothing major, just enough to make me feel like I wasn't quite enough. But hell, I was infatuated. She was everything I thought I wanted. I ignored those little nagging feelings, chalked them up to my own insecurities. Verse mistake. I guess you see what you want to see when you're looking through rose tinted glasses. Her parents, bless their hearts, were all about the prenup, insisted on it. Actually, said it was standard for their family. I didn't care. I was in love, or what I thought was love. I was planning on being with this woman forever. So what did a piece of paper matter? The lawyer explained it plain enough. If we divorced before 10 years, I walked away with basically nothing. After 10 years, it was a 50-50 split. At the time, it felt like a formality, a rich people thing. I signed it without a second thought. I was a traditional provider type. I guess I figured I'd work hard, provide for my family, and everything would be fine. My world revolved around that idea. That was my second mistake, believing that my effort and loyalty would be reciprocated. We got married, had two great kids, a boy and a girl. Life seemed good on the surface. Sarah's career took off. She was a whiz, high-profile job, working with government bigwigs. Meanwhile, I was still plugging away, doing my part, building a stable home life. I supported her, celebrated her successes. I was the rock, the steady hand. That's what I thought a husband was supposed to be. I made sure the house ran smoothly, that the kids were taken care of, so she could focus on her demanding job. Looking back, I was so caught up in being the good husband, the supportive partner, that I missed a lot. The cracks started to show around our 8th anniversary. Little things at first. She was distant, always on her phone, working late. Classic signs. I know, but when you're in it, you make excuses. You tell yourself she's stressed. She's busy. You're not giving her enough space. You start overcompensating, trying to be more attentive, more helpful. My third mistake. I tried to logic my way through an emotional problem. I told myself if I just did everything right, if I was the perfect husband, she'd come back to me. What a load of shit. Then came the punch to the gut. I found out. Not from her, of course. Never from her. It was a slip-up on her part. An email notification popped up on her laptop while she was in the shower. Just a few lines, but it was enough. Enough to connect the dots I'd been refusing to see for years. It was her high school sweetheart, the one her parents hated, the one she supposedly left behind for me. He was still in the picture, and had been, apparently, for our entire fucking marriage. 8 years. 8 years of lies, of playing house, of me thinking I was building a life with someone who actually loved me. My gut clenched, a cold knot forming in my stomach. The air felt thin, like I couldn't breathe. My chest ached. It wasn't sadness. Not yet. It was pure, unadulterated shock, disbelief. I didn't yell. I didn't smash anything. I just went numb. That's how it hits you sometimes. Not with a bang, but with a suffocating silence. My mind went into overdrive, calculating, processing. 8 years, and the prenup. 10 years. 2 more years. That's all I needed to hit the jackpot, to get half of what she had. And she had a lot. All that money she made. All the family money. Everything I'd walked away from if I divorced her right then. I was angry. Don't get me wrong. Depressed as hell. 8 years wasted, supporting her and her career, while she was screwing some other dude. It was a bitter pill to swallow. But then the logical part of my brain kicked in, cold and hard. I decided I could handle 2 more years of infidelity. I'd already done 8 unknowingly. What was 2 more when my future, and more importantly, my kid's future, was on the line? That's where the RECG kicked in. I started seeing patterns, connecting the dots of her past behavior, her inconsistencies, all those times she'd been busy, or stressed, or needing space. It all clicked into place. The manipulation tactics, the excuses. It wasn't me, it was her. It was always her. I kept everything quiet. didn't confront her, didn't send the evidence to her parents, even though the thought crossed my mind for a fleeting moment of pure spite. I just went about my business, played the part of the devoted husband. Inside, I was dead. I was a ghost in my own house, going through the motions. Every smile I gave her, every I love you, felt like a betrayal of myself, but I held on. For the kids, for the money, for the justice that was coming, my male friends. The few I confided in, they were pissed for me. Get out of there. Man, they'd say, she's not worth it. And in most situations, I'd agree, but this wasn't most situations. This was different. This was a long game. I'd tell them, just gotta ride it out. It'll make sense. They didn't get it. Not really. How could they? They hadn't seen the prenup. They hadn't seen the numbers. The last 2 years were hell. Living with a stranger, a cheater, a liar, under the same roof. The physical toll was real. I barely slept. My appetite went to shit. I was constantly on edge, a low hum of tension vibrating beneath my skin. My work suffered, just a little, but enough for my boss to notice. Everything all right at home? Mike, he'd ask, and I'd just stressed. I'd mumble, forcing a smile. My mind was always racing, running scenarios, planning. I became meticulous. I didn't want to make any mistakes now. I started documenting everything, not just her affair, but every little financial detail, every asset. I talked to a lawyer, discreetly, making sure I understood every single clause of that prenup. He was a good man, seen it all. He told me I had a strong case. That's where self kicked in, protecting my assets, my time, my mental health. I was focused. Like a laser, the day after our 10th anniversary, I filed. Not a moment sooner, not a moment later. It felt almost poetic, like a dark comedy. She was away, on some luxury trip her parents paid for, probably screwing her boyfriend in some exotic location. I had the lawyer draft the claim for divorce. Included was all the evidence that the prenup had lapsed, and her holdings were to be split up. When she got back, it blew up. She stood there, in our living room, fresh off her expensive vacation, looking at the papers. Her face went from confused to pure fury. You blindsided me, she shrieked. After a holiday away, how could you? I just looked at her. My voice was calm, flat. Blindsided you. Sarah, really? How about 8 years of our entire marriage, and our engagement, and our dating? You were hooking up with your boyfriend. That's what I call blindsiding. She sputtered, tried to deny it. I don't understand why you would do this. I don't think we're compatible anymore. I said. It was a massive understatement, but it was all she deserved. The truth, the real truth, would come out when it needed to. For now, this was enough. She went nuclear, just like I expected, cried, screamed, threatened to drag my name through the mud, to tell everyone I was a gold digger who married her for her money. My friends had warned me. The comment section guys were right. She was going to play dirty, but I was ready. You can try that. Sarah, I told her, my voice still steady, but I have all the proof. Every spicy picture my PI got, every email, every hotel receipt. You want to go public with this? You want our kids to know the real reason their parents are divorcing. You want your parents to know the truth about their perfect daughter. Because I'm prepared to go nuclear if I have to. But I don't want our kids. And yes, they are mine. I checked. Remember? Then knowing why. I'd prefer to end things with me in a decent financial position to take care of them, without destroying your life and your affair partner's marriage in the process. I could see the gears turning in her head, the realization dawning on her. Her face drained of color. She knew I wasn't bluffing. I hadn't done anything dirty, like send the evidence to her parents. I just had the lawyer draft the claim, plain and simple, and I kept the evidence on her boyfriend in my pocket. I could blow up his marriage and make her parents disinherit her if I absolutely had to. But I preferred the clean route, the one where I got my kids and my money, and she just disappeared. That's the clarity through emotional distance. I saw the situation for what it was, devoid of the emotions that had clouded my judgment for years. My lawyer, a sharp guy named Mark, sent her lawyer a file, a thick one, no accusations, just facts, just evidence, a polite note that we preferred to keep things cordial, to make the split and move on. But if any personal attacks or slander of my reputation were made, the truth would come out for all to see, and that included the wife and family of the other party to the infidelity, as well as her own family and employer. Mark handled it like a pro. The idea that I was the bad guy, that I blindsided her, was so rich it was almost funny. She didn't understand why I would do this. The self-absorption was breathtaking. She lived in a world where she was always the victim, always justified. That's her core behavioral trait, refusing personal accountability. Everything was always someone else's fault. She tried to push back. Of course, tried to use therapy speak to justify her behavior. "You're being so controlling. I can have male friends," she'd say. Or, "You're making me feel unsafe right now." Bullshit. That's not who she was anymore. She claimed, trying to avoid the consequences. But the evidence was overwhelming. Her lawyer, once he saw the full extent of what we had, must have advised her to back down. They knew what would happen. The divorce proceedings were still tough. Don't get me wrong. But she didn't fight the money. She couldn't. I got my half. A substantial sum. Enough to set me and the kids up comfortably. It wasn't about revenge. Not really. It was about self-preservation. About protecting my kids. And about finally getting the justice I deserved for all those wasted years. It was about getting what was due to me according to the contract she had agreed to. Am I the a-hole for what I did? Hell no. Her cheating on me for 8 freaking years. Marrying me under false pretenses. Never loving me. She didn't deserve anything. She deserved to get hammered. And she did. Not by me, directly, but by the consequences of her own actions. She lost her meal ticket, her stable home, and the illusion of her perfect life. Her social circle started to see through her manipulation tactics. Her professional reputation, while not explicitly destroyed by me, certainly took a hit as her focus shifted to damage control, and the financial consequences of her entitled attitudes. She's facing them now. Alone. I'm moving on with my life. Focused on my kids. We're in a good place. The kids are getting therapy, which she's footing the bill for, as stipulated in the divorce agreement. It's helping them navigate this mess. I learned a lot from this whole ordeal. I learned about red flags, about trusting my gut, about not letting infatuation blind me. I learned that sometimes the long game is the only game worth playing. And I learned that standing up for yourself, even when it's painful and takes time, is always worth it.